Chris Brown, Steve Tasker on a Wednesday, and joined now by my broadcast partner on the Bills Radio Network. And Eric Wood's appearance is presented by Campbell's Chunky Soup. Big, craveable favorites collide in Chunky Soup's new Mac line, featuring flavors like Buffalo Style, Chicken Mac, Chili Dog Mac, and Beefy Mac. Stock up for game day now at your local Wegmans. Chunky Soup that eats like a meal. Eric, we're not going to dwell on the Miami game. We're moving full steam ahead to Bills-Bucs. And Josh Palmer, a full participant in practice today. Looks like it's trending towards him returning. And it just seems like when the Bills get somebody back, they lose somebody else. It's going to be hard for Dalton Kincaid to get back from the hamstring injury he suffered last week. My question to you is, with Palmer re-entering the lineup, Kincaid likely exiting the lineup, we know the passing game largely flows through him. How much could Joe Brady change this passing game's tendencies with that equation and substitution in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to look at more 11 personnel than we've run a majority of this season. You certainly have the ability to go 12 personnel with Halls and Knox out there, and you have the ability to go 22 personnel with Gilliam out there as well. But I think this week we could see more 11 personnel against the Buccaneers, just the fact that Palmer's back and Kincaid's out of the lineup. And, we've heard everybody talking about that. We've gotten pretty predictable with the number one run rate in the NFL on first down. And so I expect to see some more passing. And that doesn't simply mean that we have to abandoned maybe the league's best rushing attack and one of the best running backs in the league in James Cook. Just at times we've gotten predictable. We saw Miami bring in heavy personnel, added another defensive tackle on the field at times, which didn't allow us to get to the second level, which didn't allow us to break those big runs. And when teams are going to do that, you got to have an answer. And so we saw progression from Josh and Palmer, and it showed up in a big way at the start of that Atlanta game. Unfortunately, they don't get to keep working together because of the injury to his knee and his ankle that he suffered in the Atlanta game since then. But, Josh Palmer's a guy that can definitely help this pass game, probably the best pure route runner that we have. We saw the explosive play ability in the Baltimore game. We saw it, at the start of the Atlanta game. And so he'll be a welcome addition back, but you certainly are going to miss Kincaid. He's a matchup nightmare out there. And when you're leaning into the run game as much as we have, when you have a tight end that can block on the perimeter the way he can, and also be a mismatch in the pass game, he's obviously a weapon. You got to get him healthy. You don't want this hamstring to linger throughout the season, so you got to be careful with it because you want him come crunch time at the end of the season and then hopefully in the playoffs.
Well, there's been a ton of guys in and out of the lineup on both sides of the ball, but when you're talking about the offense, the one constant always is Josh. What do you see in general the teams do every single week to try and contain Josh and try and get him off his game? What's the go-to tactic the defenses are going to because it's Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think you're seeing a lot of simulated pressures right now where it's tough to figure out who's coming. You got 6 or so guys at the line of scrimmage, and for the offensive line, it puts them in tough battles when they get a one-on-one because a lot of times you're trying to sort out who's coming on the play, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're bringing the pressure each time, but you have to make your checks at the line of scrimmage. And because of some of the limitations that we've seen in the pass game this year, they'll leave guys one-on-one on the outside and not have a whole lot of fear to be able to run those simulated pressures. So Bill's got to be able to make those teams pay when they do that. But to me, that seems to be one of the main tactics that we've seen to take away this passing game. And then, Miami defensively did a good job of containing our screens, our play action. Now, part of that's simply game script. And look, right now, this Bills team is built to play from ahead. I mean, the injuries have pretty much caused that with as many defensive tackle injuries we had this season. We've had linebacker injuries this season. Guys on the perimeter on offense getting hurt. So we're built to play from ahead right now, and that's not a terrible thing. The Colts won a Super Bowl doing that. The Colts won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning giving up the most yards per carry in the NFL that season, but they knew they were built to play from ahead. And so until you can get more reinforcements back, you understand that. Now, this we've proven against the Ravens that we can come back and we can do it in a pinch. But this is the team that right now, that's where they're going to thrive. You're healthy on the edges with Bosa. I mean, he's got his wrist, but he still pass rushed effectively last week. Epinesa is going to be back this week. You got Rousseau. That's your strength right now defensively, and you got to do all you can to jump on teams early. And it doesn't mean it's a loss if you don't, but it just seems like right now that's got to be the focus. Let's start fast, start intense, get a lead, let us tee off on them, and then we can stay two-dimensional on offense.
Last one for me, Eric, because we got Larry Ogunjobi waiting in the wings. But you know that the Bucs are a high blitz percentage team, currently 5th in the league. We saw the success that Atlanta had in going heavy blitz on the Bills. Granted, they were long down and distance situations. So what are you anticipating from them? Just as aggressive?
I would assume so until you make a pay. Now, Josh, throughout his career, has generally torched the blitz, but you see the Atlanta game, and you've seen the success that people have had, whether they're pressuring or simulated pressures at the line of scrimmage against us in obvious pass situations. So I think we'll see as much of the same. And with this Bucs defense, they're generally going to be who they are. They're going to light you up with some exotic pressures. They'll show you something on film a week ago, and then they'll flip it the next week or simulate off of that to where they don't come, but they show you that same look. It's a tough defense to prepare for.
All right, Eric. Well,
Good
thanks
stuff,
for the
man.
time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you up here this weekend.
Okay, sounds good. Looking forward to it, guys.